All right, so welcome to version 1.0 of the Traveler sector, generator, Bartleby sector, builder, whatever. I don't really have a branding strategy for it. But, excuse me, I made a video. There's now one file that you can use to install, and if you install it, it looks like this. Of course, you can also the GitHub's there if you want the raw code. But I thought I'd just show a few of the features now that there's a complete version. This is the first version that doesn't have a watch this space or to be continued section to it. I've basically got everything that I wanted in version 1 in and working most of it the way I like. A couple things I'm not entirely happy about, and I'll mention that as well. So on the generate side, we have a splash screen. So the 20 seconds that it takes for the temporary files to be built won't make you think like your computer is frozen. We've got system density still there. Same options, really, but I just named them what they call them in Traveler 5. So 3 and 6, 2 and 6, 1 and 6. There's two settlement styles. Normal is normal. Diminishing is a new one that I've added, and it's not based on any actual Traveler rule set. Are you going to click or not? There. In any actual Traveler rule set, it came out of discussion, something I was thinking about anyway, and there was a discussion on COTI that really prompted me to get going on it. And it's the idea that if you want a group of worlds to have been established earlier, maybe centuries or millennia ago, and they're older, there are a lot of people there, the technology is high, they have a lot of economic importance, and then you might have an area that you want to be, colonized more recently, fewer people. Maybe it doesn't have the economic importance. Maybe the technology there isn't as strong, and that whole idea. And I thought that was really neat because I've always had this idea that I wanted to build one Traveler sector that was sort of known space or chartered space, and everything outside of that was just filled with pilgrims and pioneers and unexplored territory and things along those lines. So it's the one sector as a sort of established area. But in order for that to feel sort of right for me, I'd want the core, the central systems in the middle of the sector. In theory, that's where everything would start from. So put aside the concern of is it Earth and is Earth origin, like I don't care, just like whatever, just put that aside. Everything started there. So if you choose a diminishing option, what will happen is for the area in the very middle of the sector, it'll boost the population. And that's all it does. Everything else is the same, just boost the population. But that, if you don't notice the rules, that will propagate by increasing things like the technology and the importance. And when you get to the middle area, sort of in the circumference around the core, that would be the normal rules, no modification to the population. And then at the very edge and the rim, you'd actually reduce the population. And then you'd get that sort of cascading effect. So I'm still playing with that. But it's there and I like it and I'm happy about it. And it's there just because I want it. It's not really a need or an ask from anybody or really a thing. It's not really a thing apart from one thread on COTI where they talk about it. So that's there. Let's not go out of our way to build anything right now. We'll just jump into the browser, and like the builder, we've got a splash screen. So when we're looking at a blank screen, we're not wondering if this thing is working and did I install it correctly. And it's about 20 seconds to build out the temp files. There it is. And I keep the console open. There it goes. So you can see any errors or anything, warnings or anything comes up with there. I know that's not professional, but screw it. I like to see it myself. And maybe if an error comes up and someone wants to screen cap it, they can let me know. We'll come in here, we'll grab our example, and let's talk about some things we've changed. First of all, what I like about this, which has been bothering me for a while, is I forget my government types all the time. So, not that feudal technocracy, I've never understood what the hell that was anyway. But for some of these, government and law, you can go over and it'll remind you of what the hell that is. And down here. If you don't remember what PI is, you get like, pre-industrial. Now, if you care what that means or what we mean by that, that's on you. You can go read the rule book, but at least we know what that is. And I'm always forgetting, like, what these are in EX. If this is the efficient or economic, right? So the first one is the resources, the second one is labor, the third is infrastructure, and the last one is efficiency. So you can see that with an F resources, the resources are really high here, which is interesting. The population isn't that high. Huh, there you go. So but this is just T5 stuff. This isn't anything new. It's just the pop-ups are there now. The way they're over here to let you know what these different things do. Theory, they're over there. Yeah, object is the moon. Down here, for example, as well. I've always had this here, but now you can see that, this is an exchange rate from JTAS 4. And the GWP, why are you not coming up? There it is. The gross world product comes from GURPS FAR Trader, and that's in mega credits. So this is a pretty important planet. Yeah, +2. This is pretty important. This is not done with the diminished. And even in here, just the jump point distances in millions of meters. These represent the hours it takes to get to the jump point from using this acceleration of a ship. Just sort of explaining those types of things. So this stuff not new. The explanations, the tooltips are new. Just a reminder. I don't know if anyone even realized, but of course this is temperature is going to be in Kelvin, stuff like that. The full system stuff is still here. So you can go in and take a look at the systems in the world, or within the system, the worlds within the system. The stellar is the same. This is a G5V, and I can see all the stellar information there. Newish. I now have culture. Culture, really, I don't know, it should be called stereotypes. It's really, you can't really have one culture for an entire system. And this is completely home kludged, stealing stuff from World Builder's Handbook and other things. None of this is supposed to really necessarily mean anything outside of the perception of this. If you're looking for a perception of the system, if people are coming, if you have players coming into the system from the outside and they want to know something about it, or what do people think of something, or they're getting rumors in a bar because they're flying over to Santa Clarita, you want to hear that. I wouldn't pull all of this, but anything, one or two things, like they reject bravery as an ideal, right? So is their reputation of being cowards or not standing up for themselves? Are they wasteful? You pick a couple of these things. Citizens all live at work. They're really into painting. This is in the database. It's not going to be created every time you come here, so it's there. This, like anything else, can be changed, and it can even be ignored. It's behind a button anyway. But it's just the idea that if you wanted some sort of behavioral stereotype, fair or not, there's no way everyone in the system is the same, obviously, but sometimes people, there are perceptions of areas or groups, and before someone's met them, and so they're out there, and that's an opportunity to do it. Trade is a new thing as well, and it's interesting, and sometimes it takes a second to come up the first time, but there it is. It's system agnostic. It's more for color than anything else, but I wanted 2 lists, 6 long, so you in theory could roll a die if you wanted to pick one. The goods needed represent right now on this system what traders are looking for, either because they're wanted in the system to be used, or they have an insight that something is needed close by, and right now there's a run on bulk synthetics in this part of the sector. And so right now, when players arrive, it's one of the first things people are asking them is any bulk synthetics on board? Have any bulk synthetics that you might want to get rid of? And they can kind of pick up on it, and it helps with the idea of a living, breathing universe on that. And if you have common ones here, if every time they come back, if you have a place, you have a system, or if you have a game where people return back to systems, and you have a short list of what might be needed, it might come up more than once, and it might be interesting. And hey, if the players happen to have a bunch of bulk synthetics on their ship already, well, then they accidentally hit the payload, good, or mother load, whatever the expression is, and good for them. They're going to make a ton of money on it. It is the the trades themselves, or the goods themselves, the artifacts and bulk synthetics and gold, that's just from the T5 list. I just randomly pull from stuff from the T5. It's not in any way related to the planet and what the planet's for. It's not even necessarily supposed to represent what the people on the planet want or need. The surplus represents stuff that, in the trading community around the starport, there just seems to be a glut of one of these things. And it may not be because the planet is even producing it. It may be the planet had a need for reactive woods, and everyone tried to arbitrage and get in there and sell it to them. And then within a few weeks, everyone was showing up with reactive woods to sell to these people, and they don't need it anymore. And now everyone wants to get rid of it. So you show up, you actually have a go-to when people arrive on planet of, it's like a scalver. Anyone buying, anyone selling. Does anyone need bulk synthetics, or does anyone have any bulk synthetics? Anyone need any reactive woods? I got reactive woods at a great discount. If you need them, absolutely got a great discount. And you never know, if you, as I said, if you roll these up and the things start coming up, maybe players start thinking about building their own trading lines. So anyway, that's new stuff as well. What I'm not happy about entirely is this map over here. I have fixed the find Earth-like so you can quicken. Earth-like in this case means the GURPS body type or world type is an ocean world. It still might be too hot for people to live without special suits or things like that, but it sort of follows that mode, and that's what they are. And we've got to find belts as well. What this really should be, I mean, let's face it, what this should be is I should be able to put my mouse here, and it should pop up the name of this world in the UWP. I mean, that's what we would expect, right? And it's not. When I first created this, I used, for those of you that are Python programmers, I use matplotlib, and it really doesn't have a robust method of pulling the information you need and popping it up. So I think maybe in a future version, I'll rewrite this in Altair or something that provides an easier way for you to mouse over and get a pop-up. And I think it would be, everything here can be changed in the database. Everything can be modified. There's nothing here. It's not like you're stuck with anything that the generator created. But it would be nice to have, and I know there's some programs out there, the old Universe program I loved. It'd be nice to have like a blank subsector that you click on a button and generate a system, and you can just regenerate or modify it as you see fit, and have it just sort of integrate into this ecosystem, go into that same database and do those sorts of things. So maybe that's what I'll work on next. I don't know, I have no idea how to do it, but I'll try to figure out a way. Maybe that's something for the future between that, or maybe fixing it. But it would be a new it wouldn't be the browser. It would be something different that would just, it would be like a third program to go with generate and browse. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. Or maybe just build, there's a lot out there. Maybe find one that someone's built already and integrate that into this. Maybe that's the answer, and not rebuild everything that other people have made. I don't know, thinking as I go. So there it is. Version 1.0 is done, and it seems to be pretty much working. I hang out somewhat regularly in the COTI boards, so if you want to give any feedback or have any suggestions of what you'd like or anything along those lines, by all means jump in a thread there and play with it and have fun with it. I hope you enjoy it, or take the code and make something great out of it. All right? Have a great day. Cheers.